What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter. Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. Power lines are just kind of close. What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg. I'm joined today with Bobby Jones. How you doing today, Bobby?
I'm doing all right, man. How about yourself?
I can't really complain. It's another day, another $1.50, something like that, right?
That's
But
about right.
Right. So, for those of you in the audience, if you've never seen a Chance Encounter before, the way it works is I interview commercial real estate investors. I've got the motivations narrowed down to 5 for why people want to get their next commercial real estate investment property. And I ask which one is you, and then I go through the 6 different roles in a commercial deal, and I say what's your core competency that you're most likely to contribute in your next commercial deal. But first, Bobby, can you introduce yourself for the audience, please?
Sure. My name is Bobby Jones. I am a retired nurse anesthetist, and I've been out of anesthesia for about 2 years now, a little over 2 years, and I invest passively and actively in commercial real estate, primarily multifamily, but also senior housing and self-storage. So that's allowed me to build up enough passive income to buy my time freedom.
Excellent, excellent. And that's what we're all after, right? So let me pull up the motivation slides here. So as it says, it's for apartment complexes. I noticed that most beginners, anyway, they know their motivation, but they don't know the role that they'll play. So that's why I decided to start going through motivation first. And the first motivation, which is more for the people who aren't really working class, maybe they have like a family office or something. If you depend on your wealth for your income, then the biggest concern you're going to have is inflation. And just like the REITs, you always have to be acquiring and acquiring to stave off inflation. So preserving your purchasing power is the first reason why some people want to acquire more commercial assets. The second one is the one that it most closely describes mine, which is trading time for wealth. And me, because I've got a background in tech, I have the option of cutting my hair and getting a real job and getting that high income. But then if the real goal is to have enough wealth that it provides me with the income I need, then I have to pay income tax on it first. So it makes more sense for me to be on the GP team, and then that way my effort and time is rewarded with wealth instead. The next reason is the most common reason for people wanting to get into this, which is to fast track their retirement. But 2 things that aren't very clear about that is, first of all, if you're fast tracking your retirement like if you're saying that you're like in your early 20s and you're fast tracking your retirement, that's a little bit ridiculous because you haven't even started saving for your retirement. But so that's one thing that's implied is you've got some sort of start in that process. But the other one that's even bigger is that there's an endpoint in mind when it comes to the wealth creation. Maybe you're going to become an accredited investor and you'll be like, that's enough for me. And so you'll more or less get out of the game. Whereas the next group, they're so ambitious, they want to buy their entire hometown. They're never going to stop hustling. They're going to keep working and working into their 90s. And that's a very important person. You should have at least one of those in your GP team if you are looking to grow your portfolio aggressively. But the last one, they're kind of the polar opposite of that, where instead of having their own ambition, they have some sort of sector of society that they want to help. And of course, if you are going to help a sector of society, or even if it's animals or whatever it is, accumulating a lot of wealth has to be the most effective vehicle out there to make a real impact on society. So some people have a sector of society that they really want to help, and that's why they're in this. But for you, Bobby, which of those motivations most closely describe or resonate with you, or what combination of them?
Well, I'd have to say that it's got to be the time trading for money. for me personally, it was a big factor in why I was able to walk away from a very lucrative career. Um, there's the concept of, how much is enough. And so, I don't make what I used to make in my career, but we're able to pay the bills. I get to walk my kids to school and back home every day from school. And I get to go to their after school functions, and I can go meet them for lunches, at least not during pandemic times, but when we're outside of that, I can do that. Um, so there's just a lot of time freedom. I was able to take a month-long vacation in the summer and had no issues with getting time off. Um, there's a lot to be said for, what do you need to actually be comfortable in life, as opposed to, what, I've got to show up somewhere and do the same thing over and over and over again, 5, 6 days a week, putting in 40, 50, 60 hours of my time every week. I got to a point where I was leaving before my kids would wake up, and I was getting home after dinner, and I was missing dinners a lot. And I just asked myself, why am I running myself ragged like this? What am I getting out of this? What is my family getting out of this? So for me, again, it's got to be trading time for money. And that's a big reason why I actually started my company, On Call Capital, was because for me, it was such a wake up call to the hustle and bustle that we put ourselves through. And we don't really have the time to ask ourselves why we're doing it this way. Why are we making these choices to sacrifice so much of our time? We're only here for so long. My kids are going to be out of the house in, 10 years time or so. So I've only got that period of time to spend with them before they're out and on their own. And so now is the important time for me to have that flexibility to have, moments with them. It'll be very important later on too, but if I can have something that's generating income for me now, but also growing my wealth over time so that it does keep up with the inflation and it keeps up, the standard of living that we've become accustomed to, why wouldn't I choose to do that and have that time with my family?
That makes lots of sense. So that brings me to the next segment, which is the different roles in a commercial real estate deal, so we can figure out where you are. I usually start with the repositioner side, and there are a couple things that means. One is that you're doing the underwriting, you're doing the arithmetic to find out if the business makes sense in the first place. But the bigger reason why it's called a repositioner is because you're looking for upside. And what are the ways for upside? Well, the easiest one is more efficient operations. You cut those expenses, the the money going down the toilet there. That's what you're up to increase the value. And
I love it.
right. The other reason why I got the money going down the toilet there is because there's some parts of operations that are related to money that some people, that might not occur to them. Like, for example, the marketing to make sure that the vacancy rate is low. There's also the bookkeeping itself. So operations are one of the main ways that a repositioner can find that upside. But right now it's the hottest real estate market in history, so that's probably not going to cut it. And often what people end up doing is they find a contractor team to make the place actually nicer so you can increase the rent. That's the easiest way to get more upside. But if you're like me, I'm remote based, I'm from the internet, I need a local, I need boots on the ground, somebody who can actually keep an eye on the operations, making sure that in their email photos and whatever, they're not just sloughing it, like showing pictures of the wrong unit, something like that. Same goes for the contractors, making sure that they're staying to their deadlines, they're not cutting any corners, anything like that. So you definitely have to have a local, and that's more or less the day-to-day group, or when people think of the team, that's who they're thinking of. But you have to go to a financier in order to get a loan and say, hey, I need to borrow all this cash to buy this property that's worth millions of dollars, so please lend me $1 million or millions of dollars. And the financier will say, okay, but who's your sponsor? Who's your KP? And that's the scary one for beginners, because they probably don't really know that you even need one. But a sponsor, if you want to get a loan, you have to have somebody in the fold who already owns a similar asset. So if you want to get a 350 unit apartment complex, even if your name is Elon Musk, if you want to get a loan, somebody in the fold has to already own a similar property. And then you have to have a balance sheet of at least the amount of the loan in order to take down, acquire, operate, and possibly flip a commercial property. So, out of those six different roles, Bobby, and keeping in mind that a capital raiser is a form of financier, what's your core competency, or what you'd be most likely to contribute to your next commercial deal?
So I am a capital raiser. I do like being kind of the go-between investors and the operating team. It's something that I enjoy, the interactions with investors, finding out what it is that they're actually looking for with an investment, and communicating with them, when things are going well, or if something happens, you want to be on the front lines of that, letting them know, here's what's going on with your investment. And I take that very seriously. So that's the big role that I have currently.
Mm-hmm.
Having that been said, I actually do want to expand more into the operations sector. The operations management. My background is in business administration. I love the idea of creating more efficient operations. I'm very much, I'm not the most creative guy. I'm not the most inventive guy. I can't, I'm never been somebody who can take something from scratch and just build something completely new. But I can take existing systems and improve upon them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that I'd love to be able to apply to the real estate realm. And that's my intention for joining a general partnership team, to be able to bring a different eye to it and say, you know what, how can we improve this? Whether it's through, LED lighting for places to try and save a little bit of money, or, the low flow shower heads, or whatever, or, charging back utilities, things like that can make the systems just more efficient.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, cool. And then the next question is, like commercial real estate, the community as a whole, we're so helpful, and we love referring business to people. It really is such a supportive group of people, but there's still going to always be somebody who you can help more than anybody else. Now, without breaking any SEC restrictions, though, which means no enticing investors, Bobby, could you please describe the person in real estate where you'd be able to assist them more than anybody else?
So, basically, being a former healthcare provider, those are the people that they speak to me. The people in healthcare who are, busting their rumps every day, they're going into work and putting in the time and putting in the effort, those are the folks that I feel like, because, and it's particularly with this pandemic, they have just been crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Your soul gets crushed after a while when you're constantly dealing with, problem after problem after problem after problem, and it's hard to see a way out. And so if I can provide services that allow people to, generate wealth and generate more time, buying their time back a little bit, just a little more flexibility in your schedule can make all the difference in the world. All of a sudden, instead of working, 5 days a week, maybe you only have to work 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's a day off every week that you didn't have before. I've spoken recently with a nurse anesthetist who went down to 2 days a week, and they're like, it's not even like working. I feel like I've got my own time and I love doing what I do, but now I have more time to pursue some of my passions, and still have this great career, this great income, but I can pursue all these other passions on the side now, because I have that ability, with my income to do so. So that's really who I look to serve, are healthcare professionals and people who in general are just, they're looking for some kind of different type of flexibility within their lives.
Yeah, yeah, I love that, and it's really is disappointing how you can be, a distinguished professional, high-paid professional, and then, like especially with inflation recently, you can't help but have kind of a feeling like the old story about trading Manhattan Island for a bag of beads. It's like sure you're still getting that salary or whatever, but it's like, like you can just see the value of it dropping every
Yeah,
single day. And it's frustrating that you not only have to be good at that, but you also have to have that strong financial understanding and network in order to really make things work and have a chance of retirement. So I really love that
yeah.
part there. So the next question I have is, you and I, we met through some meetups. I found them through LinkedIn. Is that the best way to get a hold of you? You got your website and your email address up on your screen there. Is that
Sure.
the best way?
So yeah, I have a few different ways. I'm on Facebook. Robert Wayne Jones. You can look me up. And then also on LinkedIn, you can find me under Bobby Jones. So and that's how Dan and I communicate quite a bit. And so I am active on LinkedIn, and then Instagram at On Call Capital is another way to get a hold of me. And then you can visit my website www.oncallinvestments.com, or you can email me Bobby at oncallinvestments.com. And I also have a podcast. So if you are interested in hearing more from the podcast space and learning more about different side hustles that are out there, and hearing from healthcare professionals who are also producing, either income on the side or just finding success in life. I mean, success isn't always measured by money. Success can be measured by just chasing your passion. So if you're interested in that, the podcast is named the Plan B CRNA podcast. And that's available anywhere you can listen to podcasts.
Excellent, excellent. And the thing that's most important for any podcaster, it's the ratings and also the subscription part. So you in the audience, if you're looking down over here and you see a red button that says subscribe, please hit it and turn it gray so that way YouTube pays for these videos instead of me. And same goes for if you check out some of Bobby's stuff. And if you don't know me and you only know Bobby, my background is in e-commerce technology and mass marketing, which means it's lead capture, lead generation, and online sales funnels. So that is what my background is, and the contribution I have as a co-GP would be streamlining the repositioner acquisition funnel, and then some automation of the operations. And then as far as like everybody has to be somewhat involved in knowing capital raisers and whatnot as well. But Bobby, this has been fantastic talking to you today. It's been long overdue. Thank you so much for finally making the appointment and joining me.
Absolutely, man. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention my own YouTube channel, On Call Capital. If you look me up on YouTube, you'll find a ton of videos. All the podcast episodes that I have are on video as well as some educational stuff about multifamily and alternative investing. So, but Dan, this has been a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having me today.
Awesome, awesome. Make sure you subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything at all. It just means that our videos might, the keyword is might, show up on your list of suggestions. We're not so lucky that, just you subscribe and then everything you see is ours. It doesn't work that way. They won't let us spam you. But anyway, thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.